Hey everyone, welcome back to the SwiftUI series. Today we're unlocking all the ways that you can navigate in SwiftUI, from simple navigation stacks to advanced deep linking. Navigation is the backbone of pretty much every app. I can't really think of any apps that just have one screen, like maybe some like prank ones and things like that. But choosing the right type of navigation can make or break your user experience. So by the end of the tutorial, you'll know how to use NavigationStack and NavigationLink for hierarchical navigation. So if we take a look at our example here, we have our profile screen. We can then go to the chat. We by default do have the back button. I'll even show you how to hide that. But this allows us to navigate to and from very easily with that hierarchy. You'll also be able to implement tab view based navigation for multi-tab apps. So you see here we have the kind of tabs at the bottom, and we can kind of switch between the home and the profile. And that's right, you can actually use both in real time. You also present sheets or full screen for temporary interactions. So for the case in this example of sending the image, we can have the sheet that pops up that the user can swipe away, or for starting the call, it kind of replaces that screen. And then I'll show you how to dismiss it as well. So let's go ahead and dive on in. Alrighty, I'm going to be starting a new Xcode project, but if you want to add this to your own, feel free to do so. We're going to make sure we're on SwiftUI, language Swift, no testing system, or storage. And let's go ahead and create that project. Alrighty, the first thing that we're going to tackle is actually the tab view for our application. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to select my content view, and I'm going to right click, refactor, rename. So this is going to actually allow us to rename it everywhere in our project. So in the case of when we're booting up our app, I actually want to now go to the main view. So I'm going to go ahead and type out main view. If you don't want to rename this, you just want to have this be your content view, feel free to do so. And you'll see it even updates our Swift file, which is wonderful. So most real-world apps have multiple sections like home, profile, and settings. The best way to structure these is with a tab view, which allows easy switching between the screens. So why should we use tab view? It's good for apps with multiple main sections. Think of Instagram, that has like the home, search, profile, things like that. And each tab functions as a separate screen with its own navigation. So to set this up, what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be getting rid of our VStack and padding here. We can go ahead and axe that. And instead, we're going to go ahead and reference tab view. From here, we can add a brace. And now we're going to reference the different screens that we want to use. As a kind of warning, if you have more than 5 tabs, it'll get a little bit cursed, and you'll actually have like a little more option that will replace some of your tabs. So the way that we navigate is we're going to say which view we want to go to. For this case, we're going to go to home view. We're going to get an error because home view does not yet exist. And then we're going to, after that, do .tab item. And this is where we can add things like the label and customize how the users see it. So I typically start with the name, so we'll wrap that within a string. So in this case, it's going to be home, followed by the image. In this case, I'm just going to use the system image of house. So this is going to represent our home tab. Cool. We can then go to the end of the tab item, we can hit return, and we can repeat this process for the rest of our views. So in this case, the profile view here, we'll then add a .tab item, add a label, go ahead and call this one profile. It's a string, comma, and then we'll have our system image. And let's go ahead and just have this one be, let's double check. I think of it like a person or something. Person.fill. Yeah, let's do person.fill. Person.fill. Wonderful. We are going to get those errors because we don't have profile view or home view created yet. So let's just really quickly make those and we can see how the tab works. So let's go ahead and make our home view and profile views. So you can either right click on the project navigator or use the plus button. And we're going to do new file from template, SwiftUI view, and create our home view. Just for now, we're going to replace the placeholder and we're just going to say home view so we know where we are. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to make another file from template, SwiftUI view. Let's call this one profile view. And so we know where we are. Do the exact same thing. Profile view. Okay, awesome. Let's head on back over to our main view. And if you want to run this in the simulator for even more testing, feel free to do so. But you will see that we have the kind of option with home and profile. Whatever we had in our labels, they now display, and we can actually click on these to navigate between the two views here, which is pretty great. If you want to change the color, you can come outside of the tab view here, and we can do dot accent color, and let's set this one to be dot purple. Now the accent color here, when we're selecting the different items on the tab bar, follows that purple, or whatever color you want to put. So now we have a multi-tab layout, perfect for apps with multiple sections. Again, I would keep it to 5 or below when it comes to the tab view. Otherwise, you'll get the default more option, and it's not the best for user experiences. Alrighty, now let's go ahead and add a navigation stack. So within our profile view, I do want the users to be able to also chat and have a call in this example here. So we're going to use navigation stack, which allows users to move between the screens hierarchically. A great example is how Instagram lets you tap on users' profile to navigate deeper. So why should we use navigation stack? It's best for apps that move deeper into the content, so messages or email apps, and it automatically provides a back button for easy navigation. So what we're going to do is, where we have our view here, we're going to actually type out navigation stack. Then we're going to go ahead and add our brace, and let's go ahead and put that closing brace around the text as well. We can also embed things in the VStack here. So if we want to put another VStack within the navigation stack, and this is where we'll be handling our kind of content. So the navigation stack is just telling Swift that we want to be using this to navigate around in a hierarchy. So let's go ahead and customize this really quickly. We're going to have this be font large title, and then let's go ahead and add a navigation link. And this is going to allow us to go to those other screens. So let's have this one say go to chat. And then we're going to add a destination. And from here, we're going to say chat view. We're going to get another error here because we don't have chat view made, but we'll go ahead and create that in just a second. And let's go ahead and add our button style, so it's a little bit easy to see. We'll do bordered prominent. Cool. Let's go ahead and create that chat view. So another file from template, SwiftUI view, chat view. Wonderful. And just for now, so we know where we are, we'll say that the text here is chat. All right, let's hop back on over to our profile view. And now we see our navigation link that kind of looks like a button. We'll press go to chat. And here we have the chat view. It's pretty bland right now, but you can see that we've automatically gotten the back button to appear, which is really great. So this will allow us to press the back button and return to the profile view. Something I also recommend doing is within your navigation stacks, so make sure you're still within it here, is you can actually add a dot navigation title, and we can call this one profile. You can also customize this a little bit, but this allows users to easily navigate and know which screen they're on. So when we go to the chat, when we have this profile back button here, if you don't want it, or you want to handle it, or you want to handle that navigation a little bit more on your own, what we can do is we can go to the chat view here, go ahead and add a VStack here so we know where we are. And at the end of the VStack, we're going to go to our kind of modifiers here. I'm going to type in navigation bar hidden. I'm going to go ahead and add this and set it to be true. Now for in our profile view, go ahead and navigate. You'll notice that the back bar is now gone. So if you ever wanted to hide that for whatever reason, just don't lock your users in here forever. I'm just going to go ahead and set this one to be false so I don't get locked in. So now let's talk about passing data around to another screen. So many times we need to pass data between screens. Think about how clicking a chat in WhatsApp opens up a conversation with a specific person. So why should we pass the data? Essential for personalized experiences and use in real world apps like Messages, Slack, WhatsApp, things like that. So in our chat view here, before our variable body, let's go ahead and create a username. We'll say let username, say that this is a string, and this is going to have to receive the username from profile view. So that view before it in the hierarchy. So let's go ahead and update our chat in the text here. We'll say chat with. Go ahead and use string interpolation to then pass through the username. Let's also make this font a little bit bigger. Let's set it to be title. In our chat view, we're missing the parameter. We can go ahead and press the fix. And if you just want to provide a default, so I'm just going to put NDC. wrapped in a string. All right, and you'll notice we do get an error saying it's missing the argument parameter for username in call. So let's go ahead and set that up. So we'll create a state private variable called username, which is a string that equals nothing for now. And then within here, we're going to press the fix, and we're going to pass through the username, and this is just going to reference our username. And if we really wanted to make it a little bit more interactive, we can grab that data from somewhere else, but let's see how we can actually grab it in a text field. So let's go ahead and grab a text field here. We'll say this is enter username. And then the text is going to be our bindings. We're going to use $username. So now we should be able to enter our username. So if I put Bob the Builder, and then we go to chat with Bob the Builder. So we're able to pass data to and from those views. So in our navigation link where we have our destination, within those arguments is where we're going to be able to pass along that information. Alrighty, let's head on back over to our chat view here. And this is where we're going to be handling some sheets or full screen kind of popovers. So sometimes you want to present a temporary screen without full navigation. This is how Instagram's new post screen appears as a sheet. So why should we use a sheet? Great for temporary interactions like sending images or quick settings. It's used in apps like Instagram, Twitter, Slack and things like that. I'm kind of focusing on the social media chat apps today, apparently. So let's go ahead and create a new private variable. So under our username, we're going to create @state private var, and we're going to say show send sheet. We're going to use a Boolean value. We're going to start this off with false in order to track whether that sheet is open or closed. So we're going to say tracks if sheet is open. Great, let's now add a button within our VStack here. And we'll give it the name of send image. We're then going to add a brace here, and we're going to say show send sheet. So what we had created above, we're going to do .toggle. So this is going to toggle that state of being true and false. Right now, if we click it, nothing happens. And also let's give a little bit of button style. I love doing the button style because I feel like it just kind of shows a lot visually in these tutorials. We can even add some padding if we wanted. Right. Then outside of our VStack here, we're going to do .sheet, and within the brackets, we're going to say is presented. And then we're going to reference our binding variable of show send sheet. We're then going to add a brace after those brackets. Here, I'll scroll down so it's a little bit easier to see. And then we're going to basically now tell it what view we want it to show. So we're going to do send image view, which has not been created. This is going to open a bottom sheet. Let's go ahead and create that send image view real quick so we can see it in real time. We're going to be doing this a lot today. New file from template, SwiftUI view, send image view, send image here. If you want to know how to send images and things like that, I do have a video on camera and photos if you really want to add that on in. I'm just kind of using this as an example though. Okay, now that this has been added, pop back over to our chat view. Let's press on our button and have that sheet be presented. So you'll notice with this sheet, and sometimes what I'll do is actually in the toolbar of these sheets is I'll also add an X button to dismiss. But this sheet, the user can kind of have it pop up any information, and they can actually just swipe it away. And even when they swipe it away, it'll then kind of toggle it to be false. So, you can kind of play around with it as much as you'd like. Sometimes I'll add that X to dismiss just so it's a little bit easier on the user. So now users can open up a temporary modal for sending images. Let's now talk about the full screen modals for things like calls. So for immersive experiences like video calls, camera screens, we can use the full screen cover just like FaceTime or Zoom. So why should we use these full screen covers? Used in call apps like FaceTime and Zoom. They're great for distraction-free and immersive interactions. So in our chat view, so let's create a new state private variable. And just like with before, we're going to call this one show call screen. We can call it call sheet, up to you. I set it to be false. So again, it's going to track if the sheet is open or not. In our button, or sorry, after this button, we're going to create a new one. And within the text, we'll call it, start call. Add a brace, and we're going to reference our show call screen this time. And we're going to do dot toggle as well. Add some button style here. I'm going to make this one with a tint of green. When you're making your app, definitely make your UIs look a lot cleaner than mine. Mine are pretty bland just because I'm going through the tutorial. Okay, and after our sheet is presented, we're going to do dot full screen cover. Capital S there. I'm not going to be using the autofill here because I want mine to be pretty basic. And we're just going to do, just like we did above, is presented, colon. Then we're going to reference our binding, show call screen. We're going to add our brace here. Then we're going to reference our call view, which we don't have yet. But you know what? Let's go ahead and also do a little bit more of data passing. We're going to pass along that username once again, so we can actually see how it goes all the way through. Again, can't find call view in scope. Let's go ahead and make our new file from template. SwiftUI view, call view. Even if you had things like a profile picture, that would be amazing. And let's just have our string interpolation say calling with, just so we can see that username in action, username. Let's go ahead and add the let username, which is a string value. And from here in our simulator, if you do want to have the kind of preview being showed, you can pass through a kind of placeholder. So in this case, I'll just do NDC. That will be passed along through within our app. Now, something I really highly suggest is if you have this full screen cover, please allow the user to have a way to get out of the screen. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead and wrap this in a VStack here. And then within that VStack, we're going to create a button. And for our purposes, we'll call it end call. And this is where we're going to dismiss empty brackets. So before we do that, we're going to get an error here, cannot find dismiss in scope. And we're going to do a at environment, not environment object. And then within the brackets, we're going to do / dot dismiss pivot bar outside those brackets and say dismiss. So this allows us to dismiss the sheet. Let's go ahead and add some style to our button. So do style, border prominent, and let's add the tint this time to be red. So let's go ahead and test out our app. I'm just going to run it on the simulator real quick. Here's our wonderful UI. I hope your app that you're working on looks a lot better than mine. But we have our home, we have our profile. We can easily tab between the two. Let's go ahead and enter username within the text box here. I'm just going to do Franklin. Definitely my user interface is very not great on this one. So let's go ahead and now go to chat with Franklin. So we can see chat with Franklin. We can see our accent is that purple color still here. Let's go ahead and send an image. Right, we have that sheet that we can dismiss. We can click it as many times as we want. If this is a real app, we definitely have some functionality here. We can then do the start the call. We can't swipe this one away. It's taken over the full screen. We'll then press our end call button and we're brought back to that chat, and we can still navigate as much as we want. Something you'll also notice is when we've kind of been using the navigation stack within that profile, right? If we click on profile in the tab down here, we're back to where we were with chatting with Franklin until we go back in the navigation, right? So just keep that in mind. It'll kind of be like static to where you were in that navigation stack when you're going through it with the. So that's pretty much it, but we're not quite done yet. I want to show you one more cool thing. If we hop on back over to our main view where our tab view currently is being handled, if we go to the bottom of the tab view here and we do .TabView style here, we can actually choose between a lot of different styles. I would do the dot notation for this one, and you can see automatic, page, sidebar, adaptable, a tab bar style that adapts to each platform. We even have pages. I'm gonna go ahead and show you the page one real quick. So the page allows us to kind of swipe back and forth between the two. So if we had multiple, so if we were to add another one here, we could kind of swipe left and right between all those different views. So not only do you have those tab views, but you also have the option for style. Actually, a really good one that shows off the different style of the tab view is the developer tutorial. I believe it's the layout and style one. I have a video on it. I think that's my second like Swift beginner guide, but that one actually has a really good demonstration of using that different tab view style to navigate. So now you've mastered all the ways to navigate in SwiftUI. So what did we build today? The tab view for main app sections, the navigation stack and navigation link for deep navigation, passing the data between the views. Bindings also play a big role in that, as well as sheets and full screen modals for different interactions. So my user interface is very, very basic in the one we built today, but I'm going to quickly show you an example of something that has a little bit more beautification on it. All right, here's a bit more of a spruced up version of what we've created today that all of the navigation still works the exact same. I'll put this on my GitHub pages in the description below, but here's an example. You know, we have like some recent activities, we have a profile, we can still use the tab bar to go to and from, or we can press on the profile button. It's up to you how you want to have the users handle that navigation. From our profile, we can edit the profile name. We can then go to the chat. We have the option to call up here or the call down here. The calling looks a lot nicer. And we can see we have a little example of like a fake chat here. But with the navigation, you're able to really make it your own. Find out what works best with your app. A little bit of trial and error also goes a long way. So I hope this was a useful resource for you. If you found this useful, drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what kind of app you're building with navigation. Dream big, code bigger, and we'll see you in the next one.